Hello everyone. Today is November 26th. Month is ending. So we'll have a quick look at 12 hours and then go higher time frame. We'll look into weekly and also this time monthly. Okay. So quick recap, and also have a look at the one overall structure first. So this is the point of rejection. FTX drama started. It dumped the BTC, then a quick rebound, and then since then it's consolidating. So this is the range, upper range, lower range, and then in between it's swinging. So this is typical behavior after a major plunge. This is what you see. So I would say this was the ultimate dip we saw. Right? Prior to that, and it was very close. And this one was almost like making new low. But as I updated on that day, that even if it is here, there is a potential bounce coming up, and it happened, and we got a bounce. So this is where, if you look at the social media, everybody got panic. Not everybody, but most of them. But technical analysis allows us to find out something which probably normally not seen, and that made me decide that there's a potential bounce, and everybody got update on this one. So so we know that now. uh, so after that, like, we had a good bounce, and then I think 3 days ago I updated about the blue resistance, this blue level around 16,660, which I added after further calculation that okay, there was a good bounce, but now there is a resistance. So you get that guidance and visibility that there is a roadblock, not necessarily a roadblock which will kill the bounce, but at least you would know that there is a traffic jam, so to speak. So if you're driving, if you know the traffic jam, you mentally prepared. So you don't try to put and or you don't try to do something new when there is resistance nearby. So the blue level was added right on this day, I think. Yeah, when it was here. And then since then, what we're seeing is again a consolidation between around this level, minor ups and down. Nothing. This is nothing major though. Another change I made, I brought down this warning level slightly below compared to what we had. Not major, maybe around $100. So now it's 16,300. So you may note it. So if you're replicating this chart on your local, you may have to change this one. Also, I made a little change to this one, around $20 or so, 17,150. Right. So this is our extreme level, risk level, and this is our orange level, which is supposed to be broken for it to go back to where it was. And then there would be some interim resistance. Now, as far as BTC is concerned, BTC is doing okay. As far as direction is concerned, the direction is still in a recovery mode, like up. So when we talk about direction, it's subjective to what time frame we're talking about and what wave structure we're talking about. For an example, if you talk about this particular drop, then we can say this is still in a continuation. So we cannot say it is going up from that regard. Or even if we talk at a weekly, we can say it's still going down because there is no new high. However, if we look at from a 10-year time frame point of view, quarterly time frame point of view, and consider whole entire 12 years, then we can say still it's up direction is up. So when anyone talks about direction, it is very important that direction is at what time frame, at what wave structure, right? So if I talk about just this, so recovery attempt, then the direction is up. So it's very important to understand. So this is in general. If anyone says this is bull or bear or up or down, always ask with respect to what time frame, because it different, it varies, right? Um, okay. So yeah, so this BTC is doing nothing. And usually this is like a long weekend also. We had a very brief moment for which stock market remained open, but then got closed because of Thanksgiving weekend. So I think uh, I'm expecting a major move, not a rule, but that has been a behavior when the US stock market opens on Monday, and which is totally fine. So BTC point of view, what we don't want BTC is to make a big move on the downside. We are totally okay if BTC moves sideways. In fact, that's in fact sometimes good, because then BTC won't take away liquidity from alts. Because our primary focus is alts as far as um, benefits are concerned. At least that's my priority. Of course, I provide TA for fund as well, and the fund would be interested in BTC. So that's another thing. Subjectively speaking, in that case, BTC is important. But for rest of the streams or my personal trading, I think alts matter the most. BTC is important only for reference point of view. So if BTC moves sideways, that's totally all right. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, if a major dip only could affect BTC. So if you look at it, the market is different now. Even BTC is slightly down. It doesn't matter for the alts. That has been a change we have seen. Like alts are getting stronger and stronger. And as I mentioned in one of the previous calls, that I see I see divergence, and the divergence doesn't happen overnight on a short time. It's a long process. As alts start getting its own identity, means they have their own fundamentals, stronger fundamentals, and the big investors start buying them. Then divergence begins. Currently, currently they are highly coupled, but we can clearly see that some of the alts are much stronger than BTC, and going ahead they'll be even stronger. I foresee BTC dominance going down, and so on. Well, that's something for future. At this moment, our immediate I think expectation is that when this downturn will over, when this bear trend will over, and we're trying to track and find out what's its potential next move, right? So that's our main focus. Right now, we are not thinking about 100K or whatever, 200K or 300K. Our main focus is this must not go back to this level, this risk level. Okay, that's the only expectation. Because if it can prevent this another move on the downside, then we know that slowly, gradually it will recover. And then one fine day it will start making move on the upside. The good thing is the the bond yields are comparative, like they're flattening, they're topping out. DXY has crashed. It's a 106 now on a critical support. I'll cover that as well. So it's in favor of BTC and overall crypto market. We still have to spend some time, a month or so, to see how the recovery goes. So the beginning is good, but it's not, we cannot just close our eyes and assume that everything is fine now. Same time, there is no need to fear. I think the key levels are the only, I would say, practical way. Tracking the key levels is the only practical way to deal with this situation. Anyone who is strongly biased towards bull or bear likely to see the surprise. For example, when it was dipping, so many individuals were bearish everywhere. And the moment it bounced, people they don't take time but to change their stand immediately, and then you start seeing, falls. Still, that people bearish. Some people are not able to believe that this is a real, which is totally fine. So we have mixed opinion for sure in this at this moment, and I think we are in a better position because we don't have strong position for both up or down, either of it. We don't care. If it moves up above and let's say breaks above 17,150 level, then we'll say, okay, that's progress. And then if it breaks above this level, that's a secondary confirmation. Then there is one more confirmation which I'll share later on, kind of final confirmation. So once these key resistance are broken above, we'll measure progress from that regard. And if the supports are broken down, then we'll measure the weakness from that regard. So that's very easy approach rather than thinking that this is what is going to happen. Because the moment you take a strong side, you cannot change the side so easily. And that's not good for trading. So right now, my stand is this recovery is still on. The recovery is still good. This is positive consolidation. There's nothing that would worry me. I have slightly changed this level as I mentioned. If this breaks below, then yes, we have to be back to alert. But there's no need to assume it will break. There's absolutely no record. So those traders who are able to get rid of assumption will perform better. Now this can be a new for them because sometimes what happens is the old habits do not go away easily, but one has to find out soon enough that is the old habit really working for individual trader, or it is really impacting. um, so that's something important. So point is, anything that works should be your rule, should be your guide, not that what your mind is telling you. The mind is not always right. TA is often right most of the times than the expectation or the emotion. So that's why I always believe that if the mind is trained, if the mind is told that you have to follow the key levels, then there is a better chance of winning than probably rest of the world, in my opinion. You'll see. If you're new, you'll see you don't have to trust or you don't have to blindly believe this. You experience it, but I would say just keep your eyes open and experience. Don't ignore new approach, new method. Okay, because new method could be better than what you have. So even if you don't believe in it, at least see that what new method is offering, and then you decide ultimately. Okay, so this is 12 hours. One day is not going to be any different, right? It's similar. So what we can do is we can have a quick look at a weekly time frame now on a Bitstamp. So Bitstamp on a weekly, a nice looking green candle. Today's Saturday. So when you see green candle on a weekly, first of all, you should not be worried. Okay, now I'll be focusing on some candle and candle structure and wave structure on a weekly, because when you come to weekly, it's more about trend rather than patterns. Yeah, weekly also there are patterns, but I would mainly focus on the trend rather than in a so big picture, like so if what you see here is kind of a wedge. Actually, a wedge is a like two parallel line coming closer like this, something like this. Okay, you may draw from here if you want to, which is going to give you similar structure. So for now, you track this and you see this is called falling wedge. I mean, the structure wise or pattern wise, you could think of different patterns and, I mean, different structures. This can be represented in channel as well. Then there is another thing that I'll show you, which will not be part of recording. But those who are live, I'll show you something at even higher time frame. It's not that I want to hide, but something for those who join additional. Okay, so I'll show you that later on. But for now, let's complete it. So you can draw this from here, or it won't make any major difference. Maybe I'll stick to this one. This is nice wedge. So this is falling wedge, and sometimes it can be treated as channel as well. But you had to do this and then track this channel. For now, we can keep it like this, and then see. Okay, so when you draw, that means you track the weekly low as a guide. If this weekly low is broken, of course, then this could convert into a descending channel even further like this. Okay, and in that case, it could really go deeper because the the wave pattern would change, and then it totally change the shape. You see how it changes. So the bear scenario and a bull scenario. So that's what I would say. You give me a chart and I'll draw something that will convince you that it's a bull move or a bearish move. So bullish or bearish can be done on the same chart on the same time frame. Okay. So I can convince you that it's extremely bearish, and I can convince you that it's extremely bullish. And that's one of the reasons why there is no consensus. There is no universal consensus on TA that this is the direction, this is the next move. So because there are different methods, and not necessarily different methods points to the same come up with the same conclusion, and that's why you see difference in opinion. The thing is, as a TA, even if you're learning TA, so that you will come across different directions, like contradictory direction and contradictory um, indication. And you have to choose based on your experience, and ultimately you have to maintain that success rate. The method that I use, the one that I explained based on a key level, is the best method, superior method, I would say. I have tried everything, you won't believe. Almost everything. It's not that I know everything, but almost everything that I could figure out online or by through research. I have not just analyzed patterns. I have opened the code of RSI, MACD, moving averages, not just moving averages, simple moving average or exponential moving average, but many other moving averages. The formula, how they calculate weighted moving average or RMA or you name it. So many, so many. and understood the formula and also came up with my own formula. So a lot of research has been done so far, and it's always an ongoing process. So I open indicators code and study what they're doing, whether it's a Bollinger Band, whether it's RSI, MACD, you name it. And I worked on how they work, how they operate, and optimized them and made it better even in many cases. Yeah. So the point is, in the technical analysis field is so vast that whether you take methodology, different Elliott wave method, or you take Fibonacci, or you take so many things, so many measurement techniques you would go with. I have my own measurement techniques. So after all research, so I started with so many, and then I dropped all. But call like this, sometime I use some patterns or technique or trend line, like show channels or wedge or those kind of a thing, um, for those who are learning something new and are interested in TA. So I don't offer TA courses, but if you are attending my weekly call, you end up learning something new. So this is how I do. I don't say I'm teaching, but you end up learning. So let's say today I'm talking about wedge, but the wedge could become a channel. So it is possible, and so on. Okay, so at this moment, I think we would keep this one. And this low is, when you talk about weekly, the weekly low matters a lot. So when you talk about a trend, this is the first leg, consolidation, second leg, consolidation, and the third leg, which is smallest at so far. But this is a tiny consolidation. Now, this consolidation could be like this. This consolidation could be like this. So when you look at the one first big leg, it's not a straight line. There's a drop, but there's in between consolidation. There is consolidation for a week here. It could be for one week or 3 weeks, and then a drop, and so on. When you look at the from this point to this point, you see consolidation somewhere here, consolidation somewhere here, like that, and a drop. Similarly, so this is the third leg we're talking about, and if you look at this, is also consolidation, right? Like what we had here. So there's no way we can say this is a bull run or beginning of bull run. What we can say, this could turn into bull run, and this could turn out to be a bottom. We can say this is a potential bottom. We cannot say this is the bottom. Bottom and tops are always retrospectively proven. When you are here, you cannot say this is the top. What you can say, this could be a top or potential top. But when it reaches to certain levels, especially when it broke this trend line somewhere here, we can say this was the top. So similarly, when it bounces, it has to reach certain height. Then only we can say, okay, this was the bottom. At this moment, we cannot say this is the bottom. We can say this is a potential bottom, and each support is a potential bottom. And if support is broken, it will look for another support, and so on. One find it stops. If the asset remains valid, then it stops. If the asset doesn't remain valid, then it could go to zero, right? Then there is no stoppage until zero. So as long as any asset remains valid, there's always a support where it reverses, and each support is a checkpoint. Each resistance is a checkpoint. So resistance and support, as I mentioned, are key levels, and each key level is a checkpoint. What you do is to inspect what it's trying to do. You strategize near checkpoints or key levels, because those are the point where action or change happens, potential change happens. Here, the change is in terms of bounce. If you understand the life cycle, the support, there are three key behaviors at each key level. When you talk about support, One is it pauses and remains at the same level and makes new low. That's one scenario. Another scenario is it pauses, right? And then give a bounce, and then certain bounce, but not high enough, and then drops and make a new low. And, and the third scenario is where the bounce is converted into reversal. Okay, the transform into reversal means the bounce becomes a trend. So these are important terminology. This is important terminology in terms that you need to understand. Also the behavior, life cycle, right? So this is going down, and each major level like this, and of course in between, as I said, they are checkpoints because there are supports, and each checkpoint is a possibility. No one can say this is it. No one can say, but there is no need to also assume that no, there's going to be a another leg down, because if you assume and if it continue moving up, then you're left out. So never assume anything, but remember and understand the key levels and see what is my risk if I buy here, and that's important. And what is to be bought is also important. How much time you have is important. Are you an active trader who has a lot of time? Are you a trader who has time like few days in a week? Are you a trader who has just like weekend for a trade? Some traders not even trading on a weekly, but trying to do something, few activities in a month. So it also depends on what how much time you have, right? So those who do not have time need to operate at a higher time frame. Those who have time could operate at a lower time frame because they can watch frequently. But there are pros and cons. If you go low time frame, then the accuracy reduces. Let me give you an analogy. Think about a day and temperature, right? When you see the news, what you usually see high and low, right? If you look at your weather application, what you're interested in, what is the minimum and what is the maximum. But if you have an activity for a certain time period, let's say you want to go out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then you click and go deeper and see, okay, what is likely to be the forecast, I mean, for 1 o'clock. Then you're interested. But so unless you want to do certain activity at certain time, you need to go at a low time frame and check the weather, that is it going to rain or is it going to be very hot day, and then you plan. Again, that forecast changes, that. Now, if they say there's going to be rain at 1 o'clock, it might not rain, or it may rain, but it may not be the amount may not be the same. They say the snowfall 2 inches, but it may not, or it sometimes it's higher or lower. So the accuracy changes. The accuracy goes down, right? If you go lower and lower, lower and lower, um, predictability goes down. If you go lower and lower and go lower, right? And so on. I mean, when I say accuracy goes down, means you have to monitor constantly. Okay, then only, but the fluctuation goes up, I would say. Rather than accuracy, I would say the volatility goes up. I think that's the right way to express it. So the downside of the low time frame is the volatility goes down. So 1 o'clock, the temperature could be something, 3 o'clock could be different, right? 4 o'clock could be different. Every hour, every minute, temperature could be different. So, but if that is not your goal, then you can operate, say, okay, what is the minimum and maximum? That is good enough for you. And sometimes people are not interested even in daily, and they say, what is the weekly weather? And some people are not even interested, say, okay, this is winter, so I know that this is the range, and so on. So it totally depends on how much time you have, what you want to do. But the one thing is sure, low time frame is difficult to manage. Higher time frame is easy to manage. So those who do not have time or who do not want to deal with each and up and down, each ups and down, then it's better to operate. So that's why we have a weekly call where you get to know that what is really the direction on a large time frame. And that's most important because they do not change so often. And a low time frame, it keep on changing. Today the candle is green. Let's say if you go even 4 hour intraday, candle is green. After 4 hour, it may be red, and then keep on flipping green, red, 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 green, and there's no way to track it effectively. So it's very difficult. So it's not that it's bad. Some people who have skill and some people who have time can deal with it as well and take advantage of it. So what I'm trying to say is not to copy other, not to follow other because somebody is tracking at a lower time frame and leveraging and trying to book profit in a very short time. I think one has to see that is my skill same as his or her skill. If answer is no, then better not to copy. So copying is extremely dangerous. Okay. The best thing is what is good for you. What time frame is more comfortable for you? What coin is more comfortable for you? Never ask someone else. Someone else is not you. Okay. Not even me. So that's why we have different coins, different flavors. And I track at different time frame, as you know, especially BTC because BTC is important. So you got to know what is happening on 12 hours, and I also get to know what is happening on a weekly time frame because BTC is a driver. And of course, so my only message today, every week I try to come up with some topic and something spontaneously, not to copy other blindly, not to um, ask other blind. Yeah, you can ask for skill. So somebody you so there are different type of questions. What to do is a bad question. Okay, but how to do is a good question. Means, okay, somebody posted nice win, like good gain. You talk to him or her if possible and say, what was your approach? What was your mindset when you took it? In go ask about what he or she has done it, how it was done it, how it was planned, how it was executed, what was his or her mindset, what was the position size. If that person is open enough to explain, sometime they may not tell you, but make a relationship with those who are booking profit. But never ask a question, what should I do? The moment you ask means you're not learning, you are trying to copy. Don't follow, never follow anyone. Okay, never follow anyone. Learn, always learn that how it can be done. How, if he has done it, so how can I do next time? Because you don't want to copy. Otherwise, there's no way you will become a trader if you copy. Copy would work for once, but may not be. He is not going to tell you when he's going getting out, for an example. Or if it worked for one coin or one instance, not necessarily it will work for another instance. So I think good idea is to ask for best practices. I share my best practices. So you can ask around and say, what is your best practices? Instead of asking, what should I do? So that's my message. Okay. So learning, learning has to be from everyone who is winning. Okay. And, but never blindly follow. It has to go through your filter. Even my words, you cannot, you're not supposed to follow blindly. It should make sense. And then it should be tried out in a relatively risk-free environment, like for example, small quantity, And then if it works out, then say, okay, can I try in a larger quantity? If it works, then does it work consistently? And once it works consistently, not every time, but consistently enough, then that can become your practice. Now, this practice is not a copied practice. It's adapted one. It's a learned one. It's an acquired skill. You did not have the skill, but you acquired it, and so on. So that's the right approach. So always ask about different best practices, but it should go through your own filter and then you should have your own guide and rule book which suits you. So that's my message, and very important message, especially because I still see some users, traders, ask, don't say you're new. In fact, if you're new, then it's good, because when the newborn child born doesn't know anything, but that's a good thing, because that child has then potential to learn so many things. The older kids older kids have problem because they cannot learn. As we go older, we we kind of close the doors of new things, because we cannot say then we are learned person, and that's what happens. So those, I have seen comments, they say I'm a newbie. So it's not a disadvantage, it's an advantage. If you're new, that means you have possibility. That means you can learn something new compared to those who pretends know something but not really working in reality. So you're better off than knowing, not knowing, rather than knowing something which is not working. So never think that somebody is new, that means you are inferior, or you are kind of you're not as good as other. In fact, sometimes I say that's the best thing, because as I said, newborn child has tons of possibility compared to the older ones. So so if you are new, that's an advantage. Provided provided the attitude should be towards the learning, towards acquiring the skill, not the copying. Okay, so this is important topic which I wanted to cover. So I think you got that one along with the PTC analysis. So I try to touch base something beyond TA always. If something comes in my mind, this is the topic I thought is very important. Okay, so let's look at monthly as well. Today, this is month end. So this is bad looking monthly candle. Month is ending. Um, Bad looking. When I say bad looking, means there is no bounce, right? So we'll have to see. We're waiting for a bounce. So at this moment, we don't have bounce. So we're waiting for it. Right? So monthly is not looking good, right? Weekly we saw there is possibility because it turned out to be green candle, but monthly is not so good. Okay, so this is still going down, as you could see, and the same thing. This is first leg consolidation, second leg consolidation, and third leg still in progress. So this is not done, and it breaks this low, monthly low, then of course it will look for further downside. It could go up to 10K. So earlier it stopped at this level. This one right now is if it goes below, then probably potentially it could get around support around 12K, 13K, which I'll be posting. And in fact, I had posted, but I'll post it if that happens. And but it could go up to 10K and even worst. But we don't have to think about the worst. But 12K, 13K, when we talk about monthly, I think I have to talk about 12K, 13K for sure, and potentially 10K as well, because monthly is not green. So talking about 12K, 13K on a monthly time frame makes sense. Okay. If this changes next month and starts making move like this kind of a nice green candle, then we don't talk about lower time frame. So let's say if it breaks above 21K on a monthly, like candle, this monthly high, new monthly high. Of course, we won't talk about new low, but on a monthly time frame, it makes sense because we can clearly see you don't have to be TA that absolutely no sign of a major bounce at this moment as we speak. The crypto is crazy. A big pump could change it. So if that happens before month end, well and good, welcome. But at this moment, because as you know, I always believe in the present and the recent past. There's no future. There's absolutely no future. Future is a manifested one. The future doesn't exist. Only the present exists, and the past also doesn't exist, but it has a trail. The past is nothing but a trail of the past present. That's a past. When we say past, is a past present. There's no future. So this is the trail of a present, which is past. So there's always present in short. Okay. So this is memory. In other words, past is nothing but memory. So that memory, the past, right? The real term should be not just past, but past present. The past which has so the present which has passed. So there is always it's all about always about present. Okay. So and there's no future. Future we have to estimate based on what we see in the present, what we see in the uh, recent past, and then we try to establish a trend that okay, this is the projection, and so on. And this approach is always, I would say, practical approach, and also rationally it makes sense. So scenario point of view, we have to always think about a scenario, and then the bearish scenario, as I mentioned, 12K, 13K, or potentially 10K. If this monthly low is broken, if the monthly low is held up, then of course we're talking about potential reversal, which I covered already. So yeah, we still have we need a pump. We really need a pump on the upside for us to change the scenario, monthly scenario, because a monthly scenario has to be changed for us to talk about new high or a reversal. It's so essential. Okay, so a new year is coming up. You know that new year always comes with new money, new energy, and as I mentioned, other macro factors are turning in favor of crypto. Right, dollar index is melting down. Bond yields are yielding, so to speak, flattening. They haven't broken the uptrend. They haven't broken a key level, but they are kind of at this stage, like this stage. I updated 2 year treasury. It's forming a head and shoulder. So that's a good news, but we have to track that. So certain parameters are dependent. I call them enemies of Bitcoin are weakening. So that's positive, and that is indicating that we could see a turnaround, if not immediately. There's only one factor which is new, which is FTX. Is just an instance, but in general, this high leverage, unregulated market, and people, the kind of risk people and have taken and the exposure they would have is something worrisome for sure. And that is something not part of the overall macroeconomic. That is purely crypto. So in fact, the recent low that we made, if you look at stock index and stock market, it's much stronger comparatively. And because of this FTX drama and the sell-off happened for those collateral. right? Because they wanted cash and they wanted to cover their short and cover their collateral. So they had to sell what they had. And that's why BTC and Ethereum, other asset came under pressure. That's the reason why Sol came under pressure. No other reason. So, so many alts and so main top coins basically came under pressure because they were being held as collateral, and when they had to encash they had to sell those because they'll get liquidated, and that liquidation process basically ends up in selling. They had to sell to generate cash, and then selling put pressure on the price, and that's why they went down. That's the crux. It's not about FTX, it could be anything. FTX is just the first domino. There can be another one, there can be third one. I hope not, but the point is you never know because we don't know how. My hunch is if the overall economy improves, then more liquidity will come into the system, not necessarily in crypto but in general in the capital market. When I you know in bond market or equity market. And what happens when the right now it's people are on cash. Okay, people are on cash. Majority of the people are on cash in general. I'm not talking crypto, but in a big picture point of view. And slowly they are now started investing in stocks. I could see how stocks are moving up. Myself, I was out on cash and then started putting money on stocks. I was on money market for my retirement fund, 401k, for many months. I was out, but now I'm in because the stock market is improving. The when the so I think I'm not, I don't know everybody, but it's a common sense. Then if the macro scenario, macro economy was in trouble, then of course anyone then people would try to be sidelined. Now that macro economy is improving, so that cash which was sidelined, like that is coming back because the money doesn't go out of the system. It might go into some other asset classes. Like for an example, myself, I was doing a lot of trading with commodities like oil, natural gas, and all, right, and did well for this year in stock market, right, and gain a lot, good enough in a bear market because commodities offered me good opportunity. So either so you have to, but in my retirement fund, I did not have a choice, so I had to keep in cash, for an example. So sometime you have to keep on cash and then get into stocks, and sometimes can trade some commodities when possible. In this example, so what we do as an investor is to see where is the opportunity, and the money flows towards those opportunity, right? Money doesn't go out of the system. Money, when I say money, means cash. They get into some asset classes, like sometimes bonds, sometimes equity stocks, sometimes within stocks, some sectors like retail sector or commodities and so on. And crypto is an asset classes, right? Another asset class. The crypto is the most risky asset class. So sometime the money comes later. Like for an example, if you have cash and let's say situation is very challenging, where if you have to spend money, you spend only on essential thing, right, not a discretionary item. Similarly, when you invest in something which is safer and then lesser risky. I mean, then go for riskier. Even if you go for a riskier one, the amount is smaller. That's a common sense. So that's why when the money starts flowing in, my theory is money will first go into quality stocks. I'm talking about big investors, usually. And then some part will, of course, will come into crypto, but mainly they'll go into top coins. And then altcoin, of course, they will also go. I'm talking about big investors. And then that's how. But because of this FTX drama, people are little reluctant, and that's why money is not, the liquidity is not there. but it's coming up. Some of the altcoin, we can see that they are making moves, which is good news. But yeah, so there are two main factors. One is the macroeconomic factor, which is improving, and then this FTX related drama. I'm just calling FTX, but you can assume anyone who is into that kind of um, fraud or shady business. So that kind of a thing. So that is very limited to crypto world, and that's why anyone who is outside of crypto bit reluctant. That's why the new money might wait. New money might not come so easily because this FTX has damaged the trust, right? It takes time to heal because it doesn't come so easily, especially you know after people losing money and so on. So building trust will take time, and that's one of the reasons why we are seeing some stocks are really doing well, but not necessarily crypto are making major move, right? But I'm sure that we don't have to paint. I mean, all we don't have to assume that the crypto is gone, like many people think. There are bad actors. The bad actors have spoiled the market. It doesn't mean the crypto, because crypto is not an asset. It's an asset because it has price and value. But it's before that, it's it's a technology. So crypto is technology, and because the technology is revolutionary, it's going to change the game in the way we make the softwares and utilities. That's why it is becoming asset. So I think from a different point of view, anything it is going to have value, not just because uh, not just because it's I would say, let me put it differently. It has value because it has technological advantage. The way we build the software is going to be different. That's why. The way we are going to do the business is different. That's why. So because of technology, and the technology is not going to die. The price and the intrinsic value is, there are two different things. What we have setback in area of price. There's no setback in area of its intrinsic value, which is not about price but technology. So I hope I'm able to explain it well. um, so nobody can damage that technology aspect, which is for long term. The damage has been done, or we are still into that cloudy environment in terms of pricing, because high leverage game and all, which are two different things. So anyway, so but we have TA, right, which will take care of pricing. So that's the topic. So yeah, so to summarize on a BTC, like DXY is weakening, right? Bond yields are weakening. Stock market getting, I can see if they are moving up and recovering. Of course, they have to gain certain height, but they are they're leading. And once this mess, people will forget. Once the money starts getting into crypto, and then so one starts, people have short memory, so they'll forget about FTX and all, I'm sure, and then it will recover, because technology is not dead. That's the thing. Technology is not dead. Constructive work is being done. Of course, not all the coins, some of them, and they'll prevail ultimately. So the crypto as technology, crypto is a bad term. I have to use it because that's how people recognize. The real term is distributed ledger technology, not even Web3. Web3 is also a gimmick thing, but okay, I won't go into that thing. Ultimately, it's a ledger, distributed ledger technology, DLT. So the DLT is the future, and that's why it will always have value. if the project is able to make progress over time. Okay, as far as fundamental is concerned. Right. So there's absolutely nothing to worry about it. But yeah, we have to take care of exchanges. We have to take care of certain coins because they are specific to certain projects and individuals. So there's no other way but to keep an eye on them individually. But as far as the overall market is concerned, people will come, definitely they'll come and buy this crypto asset because they are not going anywhere. Okay, so I think I believe that it summarizes everything. I covered TA on a low time frame, weekly. I explained on monthly as well. We covered pattern. We covered um, economic, the progress and dependencies and factors, those factors. So I believe that I covered everything that was required for this month and weekend. If anything comes up, I'll always start a call and update you all. But I think this is good enough. So with that note, what I will switch to alts and see how they are making progress. So we have this nice list, and sometimes you don't need a lot. You need to pick up few coins and then just enjoy. So we'll start with Atom. We'll go down to weekly and see what Atom is doing. Atom, is one of the strongest ones. So it's a nice weekly candle. So I'm not posting anything. You can always go because this is like ascending order, right? Alphabetically. So if you are interested, you can fast forward my video and quickly have a quick look. I'll start posting charts only when these levels are broken above. So otherwise it's not needed. So on this, you have this prior support, now resistance. Once this is broken, then this is the next one. So what I'm covering for Atom, I will not go into detail because it's a one and the same thing. Only difference is the structure is different, strength is different, price level is different, but the narrative is the same, right? Everybody is trying to recover. The pace would be different, strength would be different. That's it. So I'll again highlight strength and weakness. Otherwise, you keep the levels in mind. Otherwise, there's nothing major difference in them. So Atom is strong one. AVAX is near support, but not looking for new low. So there's no immediate threat. BNB is one of the strongest one, right? We have been calling this one. This has outperformed so many coins. Sorry, so many. Yeah, so outperform challenging situation, overcome challenging situation. So this is becoming a star coin. Okay. CRO is under pressure for various reasons. As I mentioned, it's also there's rumor about crypto platform, right? Crypto exchange, that crypto.com, as you know. So there's always some speculation also put pressure on price, also. But yeah, technically speaking, we saw how it got support here and then rejection and then prices in between. So right now, this is one of the distressed asset for the for the current situation, like so you never know. So there's always risk and reward because when this is different than Sol is different. Sol is in trouble because it was a collateral. This is under pressure because there is a potential chance that they are also they could be exposed. That's why. So don't put Sol coin and Crow coin in our same category, even though both of them are beaten up. Sol is beaten up because they were holding and they had to liquidate. That's why. But Crow is different. So it's important. Sol is an opportunity. Crow is not an opportunity or the same opportunity. Not until the clouds are clear. Okay. Doge is crazy coin. It's one of the strongest one, right? It actually led the top coins here. It came down, of course, it came down hard, but not didn't make new low, and now rising up quickly. So when you handle Doge, you have to be, as I said, you have to have time. You have to know understanding the its range. It's because pain and gain, like more pain with this kind of a coin if you don't handle it properly. So, as I mentioned earlier, the selection of coins should be according to your nature, not because your friend is buying, not because social media is talking about. You have to ask that, is it good for me? Right? Like I give an analogy, if you go to amusement park, there's various type of rides. You have to choose ride based on your nature, based on your body. Not everybody can take all the rides, right? I personally cannot take certain rides because otherwise I mean, it's not just mental um, readiness. It's all about, sometimes you may feel dizziness, or you cannot take it. So you have to understand that which coin is a ride, right? It's like a ride. Can you take the ride of Doge? Can you take the ride of something which is very fast? If not, then take the one that is, suitable to your nature. So very important that you choose what makes sense for you. Gain is not should not be the condition. Okay, the nature of coin should be the condition. It's okay if a coin makes 100x, or let's say, but another is 10x, fine. Life is important. You mentally should not be stressed out, and so many other factors. Even in long run, then 10x could become 100x. You never know if the coin remains good. Who knows? In a long run, it can outperform, because that has been a case. Some coins make a big move, but they never make new high. For an example, uh, if you look at the history, when the new bull run starts, not the star from the previous bull run may not make a new high. The history tells you, look back the past, you will find out. So sometime you have to expand your horizon, time horizon, and see, not to go after something which is more making huge move, but something which is making slow progress, but being in the game. So you recognize those coins, which coin are likely to be in the game, rather than making, major move. And if you have a combination, nothing like it, but always study that kind of potential, lifespan. DOT is not making a huge move. It's still on support, but there's no major threat. So it's okay. EGLD is doing okay in between two supports, totally fine at this moment. And today it's 3%, so it's looking good, getting better. Ethereum is also trying to break about the prior support, right, which is resistance, and these are few interim levels. So once it is above the orange level, then we should expect it to make a bigger move. At this moment, expectation is to come out of the recent loss, and then we'll talk about more. So yeah, we should not make new low, and then should make a steady progress, and then yeah. So far so good. Filecoin is not making any major moves so far. Like it's holding up the level. So right now it's not an attraction, not in this week. Flux is surviving, I would say. Nothing major from Flux as well. So okay, holding up. FTM is getting better. HNT, okay. As you could see, there's no immediate threat. KCS is also recovering fast from this low. And this, I think, drop is because of the speculation, because FTX was in trouble. So there were rumors about KuCoin as well, which is like crypto.com, KuCoin, because everybody would speculate, right? Makes sense because of what happened to FTX. So that's why this large candle. But then if we don't know the situation because things are not transparent. These projects and groups are not so transparent. So I think we have to we have to go by price. If the price improves, we can say that things are getting better. Because if you cannot go by news, because how can you rely on news? You can rely on price. You cannot rely on news. News are important, but the only thing is, how would you know that the news is reliable? That's the major concern. Price doesn't lie. So that's why TA, going by TA, technical analysis, much more reliable than going by news. So price is the truth. Rest is rest. Rest is okay. I mean, because essentially your decision is on price. You make money on price. So the price matters. Link got an energy. So this week, I would say Link is doing something unusually positive, good. Okay. So this is a highlight of the week. Matic, nice. Green, so expecting it to recover. You know, this is one of the strongest coins. This is under pressure, but surviving, nothing major. Saw got started moving up. So I think I covered it, that it broke above. If you look at daily, so this we can move it. So it did a job. So nice looking progress. So this is beaten up badly, but now recovering. Weekly is getting stronger. Nice looking. Yeah, so if there's no major issue like FTX, let's say, then this coin like SOL is a bonanza, is a bonus. Because otherwise we would not have this price if FTX wouldn't have happened. It would be somewhere here, like other coin. It is in $13-14 range is because of FTX. Whether you say it's a good or bad depends on how you see. If someone wanted SOL and could not buy, for them it's a bonus. This is like Thanksgiving gift, so to speak. For those who are holding, of course, it's pain for them because of the loss, simple. But for those who are waiting, this is Thanksgiving gift. Of course, the low has to be tracked, but if there is no threat to the low, this is the biggest gift of the year. Now, up to you how you take it. That's my statement. Okay, so with that note, I end this session. I think I covered everything that I wanted. I'll stop the recording and open for your question. Thanks, everyone.